The New Jersey Devils give multiple surprising updates. This changes everything. GM Tom Fitzgerald has a lot of questions to answer, and there's a new face in the booth at Devils games this season. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Devils Digest. I'm your host, Ryan the Gosiker, here with you, as always, bringing the latest, greatest Devils content. As per usual, different location today. I know the jersey's not behind me, all right, but still bringing you the great content. But first, I want everybody to subscribe to the channel. We need your help getting to our goal of 1,000 subscribers. I think we can do it by opening night, but we need your help. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the program. Now, the Devils, when they signed Jake Allen this offseason, it rose a bigger question. Not necessarily, what are you doing? Why this many years on the contract? Why, the AAV was perfect. The question became, what do you do now with Nico Daws? And I think it's a great question. I think it's a very fair question, and one that Tom Fitzgerald has kind of answered, okay, in an article. I urge everybody to go read it. We really like Nico, but we feel like having this depth makes us a better team. Tom really kind of went into a majority of the details about how, teams need depth and, how many of these guys go down and stuff like that. So, I think it's interesting from the sense of like, this seems like the Devils are going to keep Nico Daws around because they feel like they need the depth. And again, Jacob Markstrom got hurt last year. He missed, 5 weeks. We got lucky. It was only 3 games of game action because of the Four Nations tournament. But, do you need this depth piece? Again, I would ask you, do you think the Devils need to keep Nico Daws around? Because, again, as we've talked about, and as this article kind of gets into a little bit, first of all, Daws is in the final year of his 2-year contract he signed in 2024. They got rid of his AHL counterpart in Isaac Poulter, told him to hit the highway. All right. The question becomes, the Devils have this goaltending pipeline, and Yegerov, I believe is his name, the kid, currently still in college, looks like he's the Devils goalie prospect moving forward. So to me, I'm really against doing anything that's going to clog that pipeline. The Devils should not be clogging the goalie pipeline. They shouldn't be clogging the defensive pipeline, but that's not what this video is about. They are clogging yet another pipeline within their organization, and that hurts development. That stops forget hurts. It stops development right in its tracks. So the Devils need to find a way to get this, under control. I understand the depth component of it. Listen, I'm a Met fan. I've seen more pitchers hurt this season maybe than I have in the last 4 years, just before the All-Star break. So I get the need for depth, but at some point, this pipeline's got to move. Somebody has to pour the Drano down the sink, okay? When will that be? I don't know. And the other big question is, could Daws fetch something on the open market? Could we get into training camp and maybe a goaltender goes down or something like that? I know it's more common in like the NFL. Guys, sometimes guys are traded late because, something happens. But I really do wonder if a goalie goes down in training camp, is Nico Daws the phone call, or the New Jersey Devils the phone call in order to get Nico Daws away from them. So very interesting stuff, and I'm very intrigued to see what the Devils do, with this situation. I know it's kind of backdoor, right? It's not, or it's a backseat, I should say. It's kind of not what everybody's talking about. It's not the sexiest thing on the market. It's, we're worried about Dougie, and are they getting Jason Robertson, and, are they signing Luke? All this stuff that's obviously, way more important. But this is important too. I want to see what the Devils do with this scenario and this situation, because again, the thought is that Jake Allen was going to get this money on the open market. Devils couldn't afford it. Daws becomes the backup. Now Allen signs for 5 years. And, again, we don't expect him to live out all 5 of those years. But even if he does, the cap hits are minimal. So he comes back on this extremely team-friendly deal. And now what does that leave for Nico Daws? That's going to be an interesting question. The other part of this video that I wanted to get into was the Devils announcement yesterday, and that's why I said multiple surprising updates. Because again, hearing Tom not say that they're moving Daws was kind of, surprising to me. And although I guess he can't openly say it, but also they're surprising moves to get rid of Bill Spalding in the broadcast booth and hire none other than Don LaGreca of ESPN Radio. He does an afternoon spot. He has for a long time. Guy's a New Jersey native. I know there's these talks about, is he a lifelong Devils fan, this, that, or the other thing. Listen, to me, being a lifelong is not necessarily since your birth. It certainly can be from the team's birth. So the Devils came around when he was 13 years old. So yeah, I would consider him a lifer, a Devils lifer. And I know he called Ranger games, so I know people get aggravated about that. But again, when you work in this business and you work in the broadcasting field, you really can't afford to say no to anything, because when you say no, 20 others say yes, and then all of a sudden your shot's gone. You never know when you're going to get opportunities like that. So Don had to call those games, 100%. I completely understand it. It's unfortunate, but it is the way it is, okay? And now he's coming home to MSG, where he's going to call Devils games alongside Ken Danico, who I was reading a tweet that famously Ken let him drink out of the Stanley Cup with him. So seems like there's at least a decent relationship there from all those years ago. But, I think it's really unfortunate what happened to Bill. I love Bill Spalding. I love the job that he did for the New Jersey Devils and their play-by-play at MSG. But Don LaGreca is going to be electric. And you saw it from the angry face in the video. If you ever just need, while you're on YouTube anyway watching this video, just look up Don LaGreca angry compilation. Just have some fun, okay? Because the guy gets pretty animated. So, the first time he throws a chicken tender from the booth at Prudential Center, I'm sure we're all going to enjoy it. So, again, I'm very sad for Bill, who did release a statement here thanking Devils Nation, the Devils community. Okay, it's been a great 3 years. I thought Bill was awesome. I did not see a need to replace him. MSG obviously saw a need to fill and replace. So, unfortunately, I don't get to make those decisions. But again, thank you, Bill, for all the great work that you did on Devils games the last few years. And welcome Don into some just absolutely electric work that he's going to provide. I've already seen videos about, when he reads Andre Palat's name on the on the roster opening night or something like that, and it's just one of his radio episodes flipping out. So, again, this is important, too, for the Devils to get some exposure, right, into the New York radio market, okay, on those afternoon drives. I'm not saying Don's going to do an hour and a half every day on the Devils, but what I am saying is now you'll get a little bit more Devils insight in that New York media market, which the Devils don't normally get because they're a Jersey team, but they're still in that metropolitan area and grinding. So, again, some shocking news, really, on the broadcaster front. I thought it was a little bit surprising that Tom was so committed to keeping Daws. But, man, the offseason is going to continue to roll, and we will bring you the latest, greatest content. And I appreciate you. I thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please comment below. What are your thoughts on keeping Nico Daws, and what are your thoughts on Don LaGreca joining the MSG booth this upcoming season? Be honest, right? Be honest what your opinion is of Don, and let it roll from there. I just want to thank everybody from the last video that I did about Dougie Hamilton and the trade rumors heating up. Again, Dougie for Robertson is not a one-for-one trade. It never has been, never will be, okay? But the idea of Dougie being the centerpiece of a trade that brings back Jason Robertson is the conversation. So a lot of discussion in the comments, and that's what I'm looking at right now, and some really good conversation. So I appreciate you guys. Keep commenting. Again, just keep it respectful with the guidelines and everything like that. But I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Aiden and I appreciate your support, and we want to bring you the greatest Devils content we possibly can. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time on Devils Digest.